Bardzo proszę o zajęcie miejsc. Chyba socjalnie będę oddalony odpowiednio. Otwieram uroczystość rozpoczęcia roku akademickiego 2021-2022 na Uniwersytecie Warszawskim. No, nie pracuję bardzo. Pójdę w związku z tym chyba tam. Chyba tu będzie mi łatwiej powitać. Witam Państwa bardzo serdecznie. To dla mnie przyjemność i wielki honor, żeby móc w imieniu Uniwersytetu Warszawskiego rozpocząć, ale najpierw powitać Państwa w murach Uniwersytetu Warszawskiego. Państwa, znamienitych gości, ale także naszą piękną młodzież ze wszystkich rodzajów studiów licencjackich, magisterskich i doktorskich. Młodzież znakomitą, ponieważ było ich 57 000, którzy aplikowali na Uniwersytet Warszawski, a mogliśmy w tym roku przyjąć nieco ponad 15 000, czyli jesteście najlepsi z najlepszych. Bardzo Was serdecznie witam na Uniwersytecie Warszawskim. Witam to nie ta kartka. Z reguły tak będzie i dzisiaj. Mówię bez kartki. Jak są kartki, to mi to źle wychodzi. Witam Państwa wszystkich bardzo serdecznie, ale w szczególności witam pana profesora Marcina Wiącka, Rzecznika Praw Obywatelskich. Witam bardzo serdecznie panią minister Grażynę Ignaczak-Bandych, szefa Kancelarii Prezydenta RP. Witam pana ministra Wojciecha Murdzka, sekretarza stanu w Ministerstwie Edukacji i Nauki. Witam pana profesora Sebastiana Skuzę, sekretarza stanu w Ministerstwie Finansów. Witam pana Pawła Wdówika, sekretarza stanu w Ministerstwie Rodziny i Polityki Społecznej. Witam pana doktora Michała Laskowskiego, prezesa Izby Karnej Sądu Najwyższego. Witam pana profesora Tomasza Przesławskiego, prezesa Izby Dyscyplinarnej Sądu Najwyższego. Witam panią profesor Krystynę Pawłowicz, sędzię Trybunału Konstytucyjnego. Witam panią prezydent Miasta Stołecznego Warszawy, Renatę Kaznowską. Witam pana profesora Jakuba Lewickiego, Mazowieckiego Wojewódzkiego Konserwatora Zabytków. Witam pana Waldemara Kulińskiego, dyrektora Urzędu Marszałkowskiego Województwa Mazowieckiego. Witam pana profesora Andrzeja Rzeplińskiego, byłego prezesa Trybunału Konstytucyjnego. Witam panią profesor Małgorzatę Gersdorf, byłą pierwszą prezes Sądu Najwyższego. Witam panią Profesor Beatę Kozłowską-Hyłę, prezes Powszechnego Zakładu Ubezpieczeń SA. Witam panią profesor Gertrudę Uścińską, prezes Zakładu Ubezpieczeń Społecznych. Witam pana Jarosława Wittsztoka, wiceprezesa Grupy Lotos. Witam pana Wiesława Malickiego, wiceprezesa Zarządu Mazowieckiego Szpitala Brudnowskiego w Warszawie. Witam bardzo serdecznie. Welcome to Warsaw University, our friends from the 4U Plus Association, vice rectors from different European universities, and I will be reading name by name. Welcome, and we are very pleased that you are today with us. Witam. Witam zatem panią Lenkę Rowną z Uniwersytetu Karola w Pradze, panią profesor Antonellę Baldi z Uniwersytetu w Mediolanie, pana profesora Bente Merte Stalenknecht z Uniwersytetu Kopenhaskiego. Witam profesora Serge Vida z Uniwersytetu Sorbońskiego i witam pana profesora Marka Filipa Wellera z Uniwersytetu w Heidelbergu. Herzlich willkommen. Witam przybyłych na uroczystość ambasadorów nadzwyczajnych i pełnomocnych akredytowanych w Polsce oraz przedstawicieli misji dyplomatycznych. Witam panią ambasador Margaritę Ganewę, ambasada Republiki Bułgarii. Witam pana Fatemaha Hamedi, ambasada Islamskiej Republiki Iranu. Witam panią Annę Marię Ramirez, pani ambasador Republiki Argentyny. Witam S.K. Rai, ambasada Republiki Indii. Witam pana Luisa Gomeza Urdante, ambasada Republiki Wenezueli. Witam panią Irit Jaknes, ambasada Izraela. Witam panią Julio Bravo Jubini, ambasada Republiki Chile. Witam bardzo serdecznie przedstawicieli kościołów i związków wyznaniowych działających w Polsce. Jego ekscelencję księdza biskupa Piotra Jareckiego z archidiecezji warszawskiej, księdza doktora Doroteusza Sawickiego oraz księdza doktora
Jerzy Duszyński, the president of the Polish Academy of Sciences. I would like to welcome most cordially the president of the General Board for Science and Higher Education, Professor Zbigniew Marciniak. I would like to welcome the president of the Łukasiewicz Center, Dr. Piotr Dardziński. Professor Maciej Żylicz, the president of the management board of the Foundation for Polish Science. Professor Jerzy Woźnicki, the president of the Polish Rectors Foundation. I would like to welcome Professor Jerzy Lubak, the director of the Center for the Progress of Modern Civilization. I would like to welcome most cordially my colleagues and my friends, the rectors of the Universities of Warsaw, Professor Krzysztof Zaręba, the rector of the Warsaw University of Technology. I would like to welcome Professor Piotr Wachowiak, the rector of the Warsaw School of Economics. I would like to welcome Professor Michał Zasada, the rector of the Warsaw University of Life Sciences. And now, Professor Zbigniew Gaciąg from the Warsaw Medical University, the the Rector of the Warsaw Medical University. I would like to welcome Professor Klaudiusz Baran, the Rector of the Frederick Chopin University of Music. I would like to welcome Reverend Professor Ryszard Czekalski, the Rector of the Cardinal Stefan Wyszyński University. I would like to welcome Professor Stanisław Buszek, the Rector of the Jan Kochanowski University in Kielce. I would like to welcome Professor Roman Cieślak, the Rector of the University of Social Science and Humanities in Warsaw. I would like to welcome Professor Błażej Ostojalniński, the Rector of the Academy of Fine Arts in Warsaw. I would like to welcome most cordially Professor Barbara Marcinkowska, the Rector of the Maria Grzegorzewska University. I would like to welcome Professor Bartosz Molik, the Rector of the Józef Piłsudski University of Physical Education in Warsaw. I would like to welcome Reverend Archbishop Professor Jerzy Pańkowski, Rector of the Christian Theological Academy in Warsaw. Professor Krzysztof Pawlina, Reverend and Rector of the Catholic Academy in Warsaw. I would like to welcome Professor Grzegorz Mazurek, the Rector of the Academy of Leon Kuźmiński. I would like to welcome Professor Jerzy Paweł Nowacki, Rector of the Polish-Japanese Academy of Information Technology. I would like to welcome Professor Maciej Rogalski, the Rector of the Łazarski University. I would like to welcome Professor Tomasz Plata, the Vice Rector of the Aleksander Zelberowicz National Academy of Dramatic Art. Professor Jarosław Gryza, the Vice Rector of the Academy of Military Art. Dr. Paweł Maranowski, the Vice Rector of Political Science. I would like to welcome Reverend Mateusz Kawarski, the Rector of the St. Anne University Church. I also would like to welcome Mrs. Isabel Pratt, the Secretary General of the 4EU Plus Alliance.
Przepraszam, wcześniej zapomniałem panią Izabelę Kranz, sekretarz generalną Sojuszu 4U+. Sorry.
I would like to welcome Professor Mirosław Ząbek, the President of the University Board and a member of the board. And now our former rectors of the Warsaw University, as well as one of them functioning online, namely Rector Wróblewski, Professor Piotr Węglicki, Professor Katarzyna Hałasińska-Macuk.
Witam pana profesora Piotra Węgleńskiego.
Professor Marcin Pałys. Welcome.
Profesor Katarzynę Hałasińską-Macukow.
And Professor Włodzimierz Siwiński with us online. Professor Wiesław Bielawski. Professor
również byłych rektorów uczelni warszawskich, profesora Wiesława Bielawskiego z SGG.
Professor Marek Krawczyk from the Warsaw Medical University, Professor Jatkowski from the Maria Grzegorzewska University, Professor Jan Łaszczyk, Professor Alicja Czułska-Fischer from the Józef Piłsudski University, Professor Jan Schmidt from the Warsaw University of Technology, as well as the former rector of the St. Anne Church, and now I would like to welcome all the former rectors and the deans, as well as the honoris causa doctors
prorektorów i dziekanów
Professor
Uniwersytetu
Karzyński,
Warszawskiego. Witam także bardzo
as
serdecznie
well as
doktorów
Professor
honoris causa
Szewach-Weiss.
Uniwersytetu Warszawskiego, dzisiaj w skromnej
You might be online with us due
Skarżyńskiego i
to
witam
the sickness. And now I would like to welcome the Students' Parliament of the Republic of Poland representative, Mr. Mateusz Profowski.
Witam wreszcie przewodniczącego Parlamentu
And now
Rzeczypospolitej
I'm particularly happy to welcome, straight from California, Professor Karol Hausman from the Stanford University,
I bardzo się
as well as Google Brain.
do nas z Kalifornii dzisiejszy
Welcome.
mówca, który da wykład, pan profesor Karol Hausman z Uniwersytetu Stanforda.
Professor will delve into more detail,
Bardzo serdecznie.
probably. However, I just would like to mention that he graduated from mechatronics at the Warsaw University of Technology, as well as philosophy here at our university. Later on, he moved to one of the best universities in the USA, and he worked at the University of Stanford, at the Stanford University. Professor will embark on a lecture on artificial intelligence. I personally attended a lecture on brain and the brain surgery. I'm not sure whether this lecture will go into that direction, but let's see. Now, I would like to welcome most cordially the heads of societies, foundations, museums, academic and cultural institutions, as well as the representatives of business partners of the University of Warsaw. I am also most happy to welcome the representatives of the Krybar formation of the World Association of Army Soldiers.
Bardzo ciepło przedstawicieli zgrupowania Krybar Światowego Związku Żołnierzy Armii Krajowej, w tym przewodniczącego. W tym przewodniczącego pana
I would like to welcome the representative of the Krybar formation, Jerzy Gaździcki. I would like to welcome all of you, the members of our academic community, members of the Senate, students, PhD candidates, and members of our staff, as well as friends of the University of Warsaw. And finally, last but not least, I would like to welcome all those of you who watch us via live streaming. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us begin. Ladies and gentlemen, there are some who cannot have joined us today. Some of our friends passed away. The better. It is therefore our tradition to, on one hand, say goodbye, and on the other hand, to share the memory by sharing a moment of silence in the memory of those who have already left. Please.
Minutą ciszy. Zatem poproszę Państwa o powstanie i nazwiska pojawią się na ekranie. Bardzo Państwu.
Thank you very much. Please take your seat.
Bardzo Państwu dziękuję. Proszę o zajęcie miejsc.
Ladies and gentlemen, I haven't prepared any speech in writing. I just wanted to share several thoughts on the past academic year, but also my reflections towards contributing to the beginning of the new academic year. The report of the Rector was accepted, and the report covers many aspects and numbers several dozens of pages, so I won't be going into it during this inauguration. However, I wanted to address, first of all, you, dear students, PhD candidates, and I wanted also to tackle some of the issues related to how we work at the University of Warsaw. You decided to come to this university, whose mission is, first of all, to strive for the truth, to search for the truth, tolerance, nobility, and respect for each other. Our academic community, when it comes to students, numbers more than 41,000 students of BA and MA studies. PhD candidates, we have more than 2,500 and more than 3,000 students at postgraduate level. Among them, we have more than 4,000 students who came from abroad. You will become a part of this community. You will be cooperating with more than 4,500 academic staff and more than 3,000 administrative staff. So we are about 8,000 people who are employed at the University of Warsaw. In addition, we have 800 to 900 people employed on the contract of mandate and other short-term contracts who come from abroad. So we have more than 9,000 staffers at the University of Warsaw. Our university, the University of Warsaw, is the biggest grant receptor in Poland. We are carrying out right now more than 1,400 grants, research grants. Certainly, it can be said that several dozens of grants are world-leading projects. This is not what I think and believe, but those thoughts are expressed by leading scientists around the world. Some of the projects are 5, 10, 15 years ahead of what NASA is doing in the United States. The University of Warsaw has concluded about 1,200 international cooperation contracts, out of which 700 are currently in use. This is not to boast about my achievements, but it is also to boast about the achievements of former rectors, heads of institutes, and deans. And I'm saying about it because, ladies and gentlemen, dear students and PhD candidates, University of Warsaw will allow you for multifaceted development, it will give you an opportunity to fulfill your dreams. You will be able to find your friends here. You will also be able to find your colleagues. You will be able to grow and develop in every sphere. You will also be able to conquer the world here. You will be able to go abroad for 1 semester, for 2 semesters, but also for longer periods of time to get your degree. And I do believe that you will return to this country. And I do believe that together in Poland we will be able to create jobs for you. And what is even more important, I think, University of Warsaw trains in in a way so as not to train mere employees. We want to train employers as well. We want to train those who will shape the reality and our world. So do not expect that you will be taught here only merely a profession. We are a research university. We need to have our vision and shape the future. You will find here many extraordinary professors who will show you the world, another world, a beautiful world, the world of the future. And I deeply believe that you will develop those thoughts. For those who want to study a more practical profession, for those who want to go for internships, we will have an offer. Thanks to the contracts we've concluded with many companies working in Poland. Most probably we are the university that has concluded more than any other university of such contracts. I'm thinking about PZUSA, KGHM, Orlen, Lotos Group, and other companies, and other institutions such as social insurance institutions. Part of the presidents and board members of these institutions are with us, and I welcome them. This is how the world evolves. On the one hand, it develops theoretically, but also it presses on practical development. We will be offering many internships for you, and in the future you will become employees of these companies. These companies are also supporting research at the University of Warsaw. This is the third leg of financing at the university. The university is well managed in terms of its finances. I will be very brief. I will explain about our necessities and the future. But first I want to address you. Of course, we always need more money to support our research. Oh, and it seems that the funds from the state coffers are not enough for our research. And we do get the support, not at the level that we would want to get, but there are these resources. So, ladies and gentlemen, an interesting future is awaiting you. And once again, congratulations, because you've chosen University of Warsaw. University of Warsaw carries out both basic research and applied research, both at the natural departments and social science department. Once you will get a grip of the University of Warsaw, you will see all these studies being carried out. So what we are waiting for, what we miss here at the university and at other universities, is a way of financing of implementation of research study in the economy. I do hope that thanks to our cooperation with other interested parties, and thanks to our ministers who are present here, Minister of Finances and Minister of Science, we will get this necessary support and build a mechanism of financing that will allow us to achieve success. But you, dear students, need to remember that what counts is this country, the society, and the universities that give something to others. Not only the consumers, because the consumers will only count for as long as they have money. So therefore, the policy of the University of Warsaw is set for growth in terms of science and teaching. This has always been the case, and I do believe that it will continue to be the case. So welcome to all of you, and I'm very glad that you will have the access to enormous number of people who have enormous knowledge, skills and abilities in terms of teaching, and also enormous academic capital. It's been proven through patents, numerous publications in prestigious journals, and above all through research grants, of whose principal investigators they are. Ladies and gentlemen, how did the previous academic years look like, and what are the plans for this academic year? The last academic year was quite unusual for many of us. At the University of Warsaw, we achieved success. Sometimes this success was unexpected. It was unusual because we worked online. A large number of students graduated from this university and have never seen this university. I'm thinking here about 2-year MA studies. Perhaps they visited us when they terminated their studies. But I do believe that they will come back to this university. And I have this belief because we do cooperate with our graduates. We are eager to cooperate with you as students and as graduates. It was a very good academic year because our technological knowledge has grown exponentially, not only at this university, but also at other universities in Poland. Our means to cooperate with you, I think, is better than ever before. It was a difficult year because we didn't meet each other. I have to admit that we missed you a lot, our students. And I do believe that you missed us. And I do believe that the coming academic year will be even better because we will be able to be together during our lectures and classes to discuss and meet up. The last year was a very good one because the financial situation of the university improved. And in part, it did improve because of the pandemic. Because fewer conferences took place, fewer international trips took place. Therefore, we saved a lot of money. I'm not very happy about the pandemic, but I do hope that we will be able to use this money for other purposes in the coming academic year. Last year was a year of intense work for my colleagues. Last year, we saw a complete implementation of the new Act on Higher Education. As you know, there were supporters and detractors of this law, but we had to implement it. It was a difficult, and it is a difficult endeavor, because it ran somewhat counter to our tradition at the university. In some cases, it made our work easier, in some cases, it made our work more difficult. The National Rector's Conference has suggested some amendments to this law, and the work on these amendments is being carried out. As for the upcoming year, when it comes to University of Warsaw, in terms of science and teaching, we cannot see any major problems and obstacles. As far as teaching is concerned, we've digitalized to a very large extent. Many information is being sent by digital means of communication to our students. And this facilitates our communication. Rector Żółtek has pushed forward these issues. He was in charge of them. We do believe that in both staff and administrative and finance issues, we will go into this direction. Last year, we ordered, so to say, financing of the multi-annual plan for the development of the University of Warsaw. In the past, we had certain turbulences due to objective reasons, and we need to sort this out, and that was accomplished. We know that intelligent and green development is a major issue at our university, in our country, and in other sectors of the economy. We've prepared intelligent and green university. As you know, funding will be destined for such endeavors. University wants to use all possible means to rebuild the way we work and live at university, and above all, how we work in our buildings when it comes to conservation, when it comes to environmental protection, etc. We do believe that you, the students, will get involved in this process. All of us at the University of Warsaw are eager for you to have a better life and to work in better conditions at this university. But the future belongs to you. You need to offer solutions. I know you are not engineers. We know that engineers are being trained at the Warsaw University of Technology, but together with the colleagues from that university and other universities, we can build something, we can build a better future. We've carried out many discussions with Professor Gaciong, Rector at the Warsaw Medical University. We worked hard for the past 2 or 3 years to create a federation of our university. We decided to cooperate in all possible fields, but most probably University of Warsaw will have its own independent medical faculty. We do have a powerful base in terms of natural sciences, maths, biology, chemistry, artificial intelligence, but also those scientific fields that are concerned with empathy. We will continue to work with Professor Gaciong on this aspect, but having had many discussions throughout institutions in Poland that are in charge of medical training, we will be striving, or at least I will be striving, to create a medical faculty at the University of Warsaw next year. In the coming period, we will have to adapt to the changing world. The world is changing constantly. That's why we have international cooperation with 6 prestigious, one of the best universities in Europe. That is why we have our colleagues from Heidelberg, Copenhagen, Milan, Charles University, and other universities who are with us today to stress our unity and cooperation. We exchange our students, we carry out joint research projects, and we will deepen this cooperation. This is one of the schemes we are into. This is very important not only for us, but also for EU Commission. And the Commission wants to support these programs. That is why we will continue to develop these programs. Briefly, our plans for the coming period, the coming academic year, are related above all to support for faculties, supporting science, supporting teaching at good level. We do believe that research is connected with teaching. Our position is also very good when it comes to the Center for Modern Technologies. It works really well, but also we managed to sort of quiet down certain turbulences we had. And my thanks go to Professor Duszyński from the Polish Academy of Science, who got involved in this process. This is very important because we've shown that problems in science, we do have personalities, and problems will arise due to the very nature of science, because we have discussions, we fight in terms of our academic arguments, and this is what pushes us forward. we do need to disagree. So everything is heading in the right direction. Also because of our cooperation with the Polish Academy of Science. If we add up our relationship with business, and that's possibly because trained economists and financiers, this is how the world looks like. We've analyzed it. The world is heading in the same direction. University of Princeton, Cambridge. If we look at MIT, this is how things are moving. I know that Nobel Prize laureates at the University of Warsaw or at other universities to move up the ranking ladder. And I do believe that this is the mood amongst our colleagues. This is how we work. I don't know if I have all the information on how the university works, but I do have a lot of them. Do we fear something? Are we afraid of something? Yes. There is one thing we are afraid of, and this is the following. If we amend laws, if we fiddle with them, when we try to defend the freedom for scientific research, we may get at, well, our fear is that universities will be ideologized. So, we need to be very careful. Universities are fragile bodies. We don't want to lose them. We are mainly interested in the reliability of research and our teaching practices, and to join our research effort with our teaching effort. This is what we are constantly vigilating. Previously, I said that financial condition of the university is decent. Partially, this is the case, but in some parts, it's not. We are still waiting for wage growth. A large cohort of both academic staff and administrative staff at the University of Warsaw doesn't receive sufficient reward, financial reward for what they do. We do believe that on the basis of our discussions, we will be able to achieve it. Why do I say that today? Because it's an opportunity to talk about it, but because you, my dear students and PhD candidates, will become a part, actually you have become a part, because some of you have studied BA studies at the University of Warsaw or MA studies, and I want you to understand the social life at the University of Warsaw and processes taking place within our community. So I do believe that we will manage to regulate certain things, order them, and that we will be able to work together, enjoy your life. I remember when Professor Hałacińska-Mazurkow was our rector. She had this speech. He also paid attention to quality of life. Always paid attention. She always paid attention because it's important. Work wisely, not hard. Develop yourself. Develop your other skills. The university will deliver our opportunities for you, but you need to seek out for them on your own as well. Not everything will be delivered. As you've seen, we have a fantastic choir. You can subscribe to this choir. We have a university sports union. You can join them. We have academic theater at the University of Warsaw. But the rectors who are present here at this inauguration, they also offer at their university many things, many activities. Ladies and gentlemen, all of you who come here, they came here to say hello to you. They say to say hello to the university. It's a very nice gesture within the academic community, within the university community. And the university will continue to expressed this willingness to work for you. We are a strong academic community of Warsaw. We compete against each other, but we also are stronger if we are together. So to conclude, let me express my satisfaction that I could welcome you, and for the fact that you've decided to become the student of the University of Warsaw. Once again, welcome here, and thank you for your attention.
Dziękuję bardzo. Teraz
Thank you so much. And now I would like to ask Minister Grażyna Ignaczak-Bandych, the head of the Chancellery of the President of the Republic of Poland, to give the President of address.
minister Grażynę Ignaczak-Bandych, szefa Kancelarii Prezydenta, odczytanie pani minister adresu pana prezydenta. Bardzo proszę.
Magnificencja,
Magnificence, Rector, Your Excellencies, the Bishops, Reverends,
panie rektorze,
Ministers,
szanowni państwo
Presidents,
profesorowie, rektorzy, ekscelencje,
all the distinguished guests and students.
kapłani, panie i
This
panowie,
is the inauguration of the academic year 2021-2022.
wszyscy dostojni, szanowni goście, drodzy
Therefore, I would like to cordially welcome all the authorities,
akademickiego 2021-2022.
The participants are now protesting in Polish. Unfortunately, the interpreting booth could not interpret the protestants' speeches, as they are not delivered to the microphone.
Macie rację. I tak... No. Słuchajcie, no, dajcie pani minister teraz od...
Ladies and gentlemen, please let us allow the minister to deliver the address. And you are right that all people are equal, that every human being has the right to have his or her rights observed. But now the ceremony is open. Would you like to say anything more? Now, one of the protestants holding the banner, there is no man who is illegal, no man or woman who is illegal, is speaking in Polish. Unfortunately, the interpreting booth cannot deliver that, render that into English.
Słuchajcie.
Please listen. Thank you so much. You have pledged your case. And you have shared your opinions. Thank you so much for that. Now, let us, Minister, delve into more detail. I would like to wish that you don't understand what you have just said. This was said to the protestants by the minister.
Teraz już nie może być.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us close this discussion for now. So please do take your seats, or you can remain standing, but please let us continue the address. The academic year 2021-2022 has started. Therefore, I would like to cordially welcome all the authorities and the community of the University of Warsaw, the biggest Polish university of a great tradition. Minister, please let us stop. The protestants are still protesting, as you can probably hear phonologically. Unfortunately, we are not able to interpret that. Now the rector addresses the protestants. Ladies and gentlemen,
Przez całą uroczystość.
we have been lenient, but you cannot break into the words of the minister. We cannot interrupt the ceremony. The floor is yours, Minister. 1816, this was when the University of Warsaw was built. And the University of Warsaw tells the heritage of the Polish research and science. This is the basis for the development of the Polish community, of the Polish academic community, and therefore I wish a very fruitful academic year. I hope this year will go uninterrupted. We had a very difficult year due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and this has shown us that there is a great value which lies in meeting someone face-to-face and having a direct conversation. This is undoubtedly a very important aspect of the academic life. We cannot continue this life online and via remote work. Therefore, I hope that this academic year will be the year when we'll go back to stationary, to on-site learning. And in all the facilities of the universities, there will be students. The universities play a social role, and their mission remains unchanged for centuries, has remained unchanged. We have to understand, as well as study, human activity, natural sciences, and many more, as I've enumerated just some of what we can study, some of the things we can study. The role of the university is also to develop the national elite. At the same time, the university is a place where you can share, where you can study and share without ideological discussions. The universities are special also because of the fact that during studies, opinions and the conduct of young people is developing. This is why we shall remain always open at different points of view and different cultures. We have some modern challenges, and this should be linked with research activities. But at the same time, all these things, together with political engagement, should remain with a certain distance and with a certain distance kept. And this is for all the universities to do all the best they can. And this is why, as the President of the Republic of Poland, I strive to take part in the discussion on Polish science and the activity of the university. This is a complex system. The system that science and higher education is in. And therefore, everything should be up for discussion and reflection. I hope that the evaluation that we are approaching will enable us to objectively assess the scientific achievements. We will also be able to conclude what needs to be done in the future and deliver some new paths for the academic development in Poland. I wish you all the satisfaction, success, And let all this year be good, fortunate, and happy. I hope that some new perspectives will open for you. In fact, for all the universities, for all the people of science, you, President of the Republic of Poland, Andrzej Duda.
Dziękuję bardzo, pani minister. Poproszę.
Thank you so much, Minister. And now I would like to ask Professor Sławomir Żółtek, the Vice Rector for Student Affairs and Equality of Teaching.
Dziękuję bardzo, panie rektorze. Szanowni Państwo.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up.
Proszę studentki i studentów o powtarzanie.
And now I would like the students to take the pledge. Let us begin. I solemnly pledge to persistently strive to acquire knowledge and develop my personality, to respect the academic rights and customs, and with all my actions to uphold the honor and dignity of the student of the University of Warsaw. Thank you so much. Please take your seats.
Witamy Państwa w naszym gronie.
Dear students, welcome. And now I would like to ask His Magnificence.
Witamy Państwa w naszym gronie.
To render the student ID.
Jego Magnificencję rektora o wręczenie indeksów studentkom studentkom drugiego stopnia oraz studentkom jednolitych studiów magisterskich. Jeżeli pan rektor zechciałby opuścić podium. Szanowni Państwo.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Magnificence, the Rector, will be now giving the student books to Mr. Romuald Milcarek from the Faculty of Archaeology, Karol Saputa, Artes Liberales, Ms. Klara Maria Kiecze, the Faculty of Biology, Anna Maria Nowaczyk, the Faculty of Chemistry, Zofia Izabela Łukowiak, the Faculty of Journalism, Information and Book Studies, Jakub Balcerowski, the Faculty of Philosophy, Lena Stankiewicz, the Faculty of Geography and Regional Studies, Patryk Marian Bonder, from the Faculty of Geology, Aleksandra Frączek, the Faculty of History, Martyna Stankiewicz, the Faculty of Applied Linguistics, Bogdan Tomasz Błędziński, the Faculty of Mathematics, IT and Mechanics, Magdalena Nielipiuk, from the Faculty of Economic Sciences, Kacper Piszczek, Faculty of Culture and Arts, Matylda Maliszewska, Faculty of Political Science and International Studies, Paweł Piestrzeniewicz, Faculty of Modern Languages, Agnieszka Katarzyna Załuska, Faculty of Oriental Studies. Thank you so much. Now, the second round of students. Please join.
Państwu podziękujemy i poproszę o studentów, którzy w drugiej turze mają wręczane indeksy. Dziękuję bardzo. Szanowni Państwo, pan rektor wręcza.
Ladies and gentlemen, Now Katarzyna Dura, Faculty of Education. Weronika Chmielewska, Faculty of Polish Studies.
Szanowni Państwo, pan
Mateusz
rektor
Małetka,
pani
Faculty of Law and Administration.
pedagogicznego.
Pola Aleksandra Zawitkowska, Faculty of Psychology. Mateusz Kasprowicz, Faculty of Sociology.
Z Wydziału Prawa i Administracji.
Magdalena Strupiechowska,
Pani Poli
Faculty of Applied Social Sciences and Resocialization.
panu
Bartłomiej Brzeziński,
z Wydziału
Faculty of Management.
pani Magdalena
Aleksandra Drabik,
z Wydziału
European Studies.
Społecznych i Resocjalizacji.
Daniel Książek,
Panu Bartłomiejowi
Center for Foreign Language Teacher Training and European Education. Martyna Równicka, Center for Food Research. Zofia Kwasiborska, Institute of the Americas and Europe.
Języków Obcych i Edukacji
Nela Antonina Tomaszewicz,
pani Martynie
the University of Warsaw Interdisciplinary Center for Mathematical and Computational Modeling.
Polskiej z Instytutu
Jakub Nowak, from the University Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development.
Amerykańskiego Centrum Modelowania
Marta Jędrych,
Matematycznego.
College of Interfaculty Individual Studies in Mathematics and Natural Sciences. Thank you so much.
Niczym i zrównoważonym
Please take your seats.
matematyczno-przyrodniczych. Dziękuję Państwu bardzo. Proszę usiąść. Szanowni Państwo, przystępujemy do
Ladies and gentlemen, now the pledge of PhD candidates of the University of Warsaw. These are the best candidates
Szanowni Państwo, przystępujemy do odebrania ślubowania
selected
od
in the Adjunct
doktorantów
Professor.
Uniwersytetu
Now,
Warszawskiego,
please take the pledge
którzy
and please write.
osiągnęli najlepsze
Solemnly
wyniki w
pledge
egzaminie rekrutacyjnym.
to persistently strive
Proszę
to
doktorantki i doktorantów o powstanie i proszę
acquire
o
knowledge
sprawną
and develop my
ślubowanie.
personality,
Ślubuję uroczyście
to respect the academic rights and customs,
do zdobywania
and with all my actions,
własnej osobowości
to uphold the honor and dignity of the PhD student of the University of Warsaw.
oraz całym swoim postępowaniem
Thank you so much. Please take.
godność i honor doktoranta, doktorantki Ponownie poproszę
And now I would like to ask His Magnificence Rector of the University of Warsaw, Professor Alojzy Nowak, to render congratulations letters to PhD.
Ponownie poproszę Jego Magnificencję rektora profesora Alojzego Nowaka, tym razem o wręczenie listów gratulacyjnych następującym doktorantom i uprzejmie poproszę pierwszą grupę doktorantów. Szanowni Państwo, rozpoczniemy od wręczenia listów gratulacyjnych doktorantkom ze Szkoły Doktorskiej.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, Grzegorz Czajka in Archaeology,
Szanowni Państwo, rozpoczniemy od wręczenia listów
Teresa Mirosława Fazan,
ze
Philosophy,
Szkoły Doktorskiej Nauk Humanistycznych. Panu magistrowi
Krzysztof Maciej Bielacki,
w dyscyplinie archeologia.
History,
Pani magister Teresie
Monika Anna Szymańska,
filozofia.
Linguistics,
Panu magistrowi Krzysztofowi Maciejowi
Piotr Sidorowicz
w dyscyplinie
in Literary Studies,
Pani
Klara
magister
Amelia Zienkiewicz
w dyscyplinie
in
językowej.
Arts. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these were humanities, and we are moving on to sciences. Marcin Jan Musiałowski in biology studies. Piotr Grzegorz Szkudlarek in chemical studies. Krzysztof Paweł Mękała in physical studies. Wojciech Przybyszewski in IT. Marcin Kluczek, Earth and Environmental Sciences.
Panu magistrowi Wojciechowi
Thank you so much.
w dyscyplinie informatyka
Please take this.
i panu magistrowi Marcinowi Kluczkowi w dyscyplinie nauki o ziemi i środowisku. Dziękuję Państwu bardzo.
Now, let us
Proszę usiąść.
welcome the second round.
Poproszę o drugą grupę doktorantów i doktorantek.
Social Studies, ladies and gentlemen, with Michał Jerzy Woźniak in Economy and Finances. Weronika Kalijewa,
ze Szkoły
Socioeconomic Geography and Land Management.
Michałowi Jerzemu Woźniakowi w dyscyplinie
Krzysztof Paweł Kądzielski in Safety Studies.
Weronice Kalejewej w dyscyplinie Geografia
Bogdan
Ekonomiczna i Gospodarka Przestrzenna.
Social Communication and Media Studies.
Krzysztofowi Pawłowi Kądzielskiemu w
Sylwia
dyscyplinie
Joanna Waruszewska, Political and Administrative Science.
Adruszence w dyscyplinie Nauki o Komunikacji.
Grzegorz Andrzej Simborowski, Management and Quality Studies.
Magister Sylwii Joannie
Jan Kazimierz
w dyscyplinie
Ciaptarz,
Nauki o Polityce i
Legal
Administracji. Magister
Marta Zuzanna Gospodarczyk,
Simborowskiemu w
Sociology.
dyscyplinie Nauki o Zarządzaniu i Jakości. Magistrowi Janowi
Maja
Kazimierzowi
Jadwiga Gajda,
w dyscyplinie Nauki Prawne.
Adrianna
Zuzannie Gospodarczyk
Wielgopolan,
w dyscyplinie Nauki
Psychology.
Społeczne.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Widzę Gajdzie,
Anna Róża-Hos from the Interdisciplinary Doctoral School.
magister Adriannie
Thank you so much.
Polan
And
w dyscyplinie Psychologia. I z Międzydziedzinowej Szkoły Doktorskiej magister Annie Róży Hos. Dziękuję Państwu uprzejmie. Proszę usiąść.
Bardzo proszę Państwa o powstanie. Gaude Mater Polonia. Dziękuję bardzo.
Thank you very much. Now please take your seats. Now I would like to ask Mr. Kamis Bonas, who is the president of the Students' Council of the University of Warsaw, to take the floor.
Teraz poproszę pana Kamila Bonasa, przewodniczącego Samorządu Studentów Uniwersytetu Warszawskiego, o zabranie głosu. Panie Kamilu, bardzo proszę.
Ladies and gentlemen, Your Magnificence Rector, Reverend Ms. Vice Rector, Mr. Vice Prorector, Senators of the University of Warsaw, dear ladies and gentlemen, professors, university employees, doctoral candidates, and you, students of the University of Warsaw. This is the third time I am honored to speak on behalf of the student community of our university at the inauguration of the academic year. I can say with satisfaction that for the last 3 years I have realized what potential our university has and what valuable and supportive community we form. We have proven this during the coronavirus pandemic, which has changed our lives in recent months. As an academic community, we have passed this difficult and unexpected exam. We have managed, at the didactic level, we have managed to adjust to difficult conditions. What is more, in my opinion, most importantly, we demonstrated mutual empathy and genuine human understanding. On behalf of the students, I would like to thank academic teachers who, with understanding, have approached and continue to approach towards people who, for various reasons, mainly health-related and also financial or family-related, experienced problems with attending classes over the last 3 semesters. I address my words not only to academic teachers, but also to other staff members at our alma mater. I am sure that today many of us recall how helpful the staff of our university library were to students on the day when the university was closed and in the coming months. The coming year will hopefully be a time of comeback. The comeback of on-site studies, the comeback of academic life into our university, and the comeback of direct relations between us. However, these comebacks would not be possible but for hard work of scientists, medical professionals, and for the responsible attitude of all of us. I enthusiastically see the results on the vaccination. It shows how responsible students of the University of Warsaw are. I would like to thank you for all this. Let us remember that by vaccinating, we not only care about ourselves, but also about others. At this juncture, I would also like to appeal to everyone who still has doubts. Trust science. Students, since the beginning of the existence of our alma mater, have shown a special, extraordinary approach. We can be proud of the history of the Student Council at the University of Warsaw. We have been active for over 40 years. More than 4 decades ago, given an example of responsibility, we actually felt the need to oppose the oppressive state power. Being aware of this responsibility, as the Student Council, we took a decision to create a special program of Student Council development. This is the program which assigns 10 goals for the decade, for the next decade. I hope that in the next decade we will be developing strongly and more dynamically than so far. Last year was very difficult, and internationalization of the university. It faced us with a lot of challenges. Mobility was unimaginable for us, but with the time's perspective, we can see that it created new possibilities. As students at the University of Warsaw, a European university, we could use without limits a didactic offer of our partner universities, being members of 4 EU Plus Alliance. I hope that such solutions will allow us to deepen our international cooperation and will be with us for longer. I would also like to address separate words to the present students. I know how important this day is for you. You achieved to be the to be the best in the recruitment procedure. You have every right to feel satisfaction that your hard work has yielded such excellent outcome. You are the best first-year students, and I'm not afraid to say the best university in our country. And remember one thing, you are not only the best, but also the most important. Without students, there will be no university. We are the largest group in the community. We are the future of the University of Warsaw, the future of science, Poland, and Europe. Study in the full sense of this word, acquire knowledge, learn about other points of view, discuss and develop yourselves. But studying is not only about learning, it is also about memories, friendships, relationships that will stay with you for your entire life. Ladies and gentlemen, university is a synonym of equality, where every vote must be heard, must be listened to, because we are all equal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to ask to take the floor a representative of doctoral candidates, Ms. Justyna Sobolewska, President of the Board of the Doctoral Candidates Council of the University of Warsaw. You have the floor.
Panią magister Justynę Sobolewską o zabranie głosu w imieniu doktorantów, przewodniczącą Samorządu Doktorantów Uniwersytetu Warszawskiego. Bardzo proszę.
Your Magnificence Rector, High Senate, distinguished guests, dear students, but above all, you, dear doctoral candidates. I address you today filled with hope. Hope that the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic will soon be nothing but a memory. With hope that vaccinations will successfully defend us from further lockdowns and, in the case of many individuals, from a serious course of infection. I am filled with hope that we will achieve sufficient vaccination coverage and, as a result, will impede the development of next mutations of the coronavirus until effective treatment is available. And finally, filled with hope that all these phenomena will restore society's faith in science and trust in scientific community. I hope that we will be able to create a new normality already in this academic year. On the one hand, that we will rebuild the relations with our foreign partners and, thanks to various forms of mobility, will start completely new partnerships. On the other hand, I hope we will be able to keep all kinds of positive developments we experienced during the pandemic, such as, for instance, better digital skills, greater opportunities to broaden your knowledge without leaving home, greater range of data and sources of information available online at any time, the possibility to submit many documents and perform various actions without the need to waste paper, or organization of events such as conferences and doctoral thesis defenses in hybrid form, so that they were accessible to everyone regardless of their place of residence, which reduced financial and ecological travel costs. Finally, I invariably hope for the improvement of the situation of young researchers in Poland and at the University of Warsaw. Referring to His Magnificence's words today, I also hope that doctoral scholarships in doctoral schools will not be lower than the minimum wage. I hope that the financing of research and travels of doctoral candidates in all university units will be increased. I hope that you will all be supported by highly qualified, but also understanding and empathetic supervisors who will become unforgettable mentors on your academic journey. Dear doctoral candidates, you are beginning education at Poland's best university, which combines modernity with more than 200 years of tradition. At a university which, acting in cooperation with 5 other prestigious universities within the 4U+ alliance, has a chance to become one of the leading European higher education institutions. You are beginning your research at a university that received the highest score in the Excellence Initiative contest, and so obtained the status of a research university. This gives you the opportunity to carry out your research at the highest level. You are entering a university for whom doctoral candidates are so important that they are looked after by His Magnificence Rector himself, working in cooperation with the Council to improve the educational and research conditions for young scholars. At the same time, you are becoming a part of a community of many thousands of academic and administrative employees, students, and other doctoral candidates enrolled in third cycle studies and at doctoral schools. One part of this community is the board of the Doctoral Candidates Council, of which I have the honor to be the president. The council encompasses all doctoral candidates, and, starting you, today you as well. Last year, my predecessor encouraged our new members to embark on their life's adventure with the council. What is this adventure, then? Work at the council gives you an opportunity to meet other fantastic doctoral candidates and to become friends with them for years. When you work in the council, you have a real impact on the way the university functions and on changes such as, for example, the rules of granting the doctoral degree or the functioning of doctoral schools. Council representatives have the privilege to take part in rector selection or to approve candidates for directors of doctoral schools. Moreover, you have the chance to help others, and there is nothing better than the satisfaction that this can make you feel. Carry out doctoral research is no easy task. Irrespective of the efforts made by His Magnificence and all the vice-rectors, directors of doctoral schools, dissertation supervisors, other researchers, or the Doctoral Candidates Council Board, or your own, you can encounter certain difficulties on your way. Please remember that we all spend no effort to support you. In the event of any problems, you can always ask for assistance from the Council, the Academic Ombudsman, or the Psychological Counseling Center. Dear doctoral candidates, I wish that this new chapter of life you're about to begin, education at the University of Warsaw Doctoral Schools, gives you a great deal of satisfaction. I hope you will feel you are a vital part of a great community and that you are always treated as young researchers. You are starting your education at a crucial moment for the functioning of the entire academic community, which may entail some additional challenges, but also numerous opportunities. Take advantage of all the possibilities offered to you by the university and other organizations such as the National Science Center or the Polish National Agency for Academic Exchange. Remember that from now on you participate in creating science, that you are the future of the scientific community, both at the University of Warsaw and otherwise. And as His Magnificence Rector many times emphasized, remember that the most important thing are good doctoral dissertations. This is something in which all of us here will support you. To all of you present here at the ceremony and those who follow it online, to His Magnificence rectors, deans, professors, instructors, and academic staff members, I would like to wish for this beginning academic year and for the years to follow an incessant curiosity, ever new research questions to be asked and verified, but also care for balance between scholarly activity and private life, which is so hard to maintain when we work from home. And finally, all the health for the time ahead. Thank you.
Dziękuję.
Thank you very much, Justyna. Now I have two pleasures. One of them is to declare that 2021-22 academic year at the University of Warsaw officially opened. Thank you very much. I see that everyone awaited that moment to start working tomorrow. But today we can still listen to the lecture, and I kindly ask Professor Karol Hausman to give a lecture.
Ale dzisiaj jeszcze nie my. Dzisiaj posłuchamy wykładu i bardzo proszę pana profesora Karola Hausmana o wygłoszenie wykładu.
Good afternoon. A very warm welcome to you all. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a great honor for me. It's a chance an opportunity to tell you today about artificial intelligence. My name is Karol Hausman, and I'm a professor. I'm a member of the Google Brain research team and a professor at Stanford University in California. I hope that in today's lecture I will be able to show you what artificial intelligence is, what it is about, how it changes almost everything that surrounds us practically every day. You are probably wondering what a 30-something-year-old man in this strange-looking bright red toga is doing here, and to be honest, I'm wondering myself how I got here. Because a few years ago, by miracle, I landed in the middle of a scientific revolution. A revolution which, in my opinion, will be an event on the scale of an industrial revolution. And today I would like to tell you the stories, a story of chance, also of a plan, of chaos, of order. And I would also like to explain why I'm actually talking about a revolution. To do this, I need to take you back in time. Let us move back to ancient Greece, to the time of one of the philosophers we know, Socrates. Socrates had this Socratic way in which he wandered through the streets of Athens and accosted all sorts of people, asking them for definitions of things and concepts they knew. And one of the prophets of the time was Euthyphron. And Euthyphron was known to be able to say with complete certainty whether someone was pious or not. So Socrates, trying to fathom the mysteries and true nature of piety, started asking Euthyphron for a definition of piety. So he was trying to explain this, but every time Socrates found some counterexample and spoiled everything. So actually Socrates said that Euthyphron was not a real expert, rather a put expert, as he was not able to defend his thesis. So Socrates carried out similar test exercises on many people, such as craftsmen, politicians, civil servants, philosophers, and every time he concluded that these so-called experts knew nothing, and in fact he stated that those experts knew nothing. So, in fact, he also concluded that he knew so much that he knew nothing. So now imagine that we are the first scientists to think about how to build intelligent machines using computers. So here it turns out that Socratic questions about definitions of concepts and the nature of intelligence were similar to the questions that tormented the first developers of artificial intelligence. In the 1950s, Marvin Minsky, Herbert Simon, and Alan Newell, who actually had at the disposal computers created by Alan Turing, were thinking about such artificial intelligence in a way similar to Socrates. So they thought that if they wrote down all the facts and rules that people follow, they would be able to build a machine that would be as smart as the smartest people, because such a machine would have access to all the facts and rules they follow. The methods of artificial intelligence methods that were developed were very successful at the very beginning, but rather in narrow fields. thanks to them, machines learned how to play checkers. And in one of the chess games which took place, that the computer won with contemporary world champion Garry Kasparov. That was a huge event for the whole world. However, it turns out that the failure already experienced by Socrates, so the experts were unable to formulate the rules they followed well in order to create this basic base of knowledge. They were rather poor on broader issues, so they cease to be functional with dealing with broader issues where people are mostly guided by common sense, intuition and creativity. The failure of this approach to artificial intelligence was so stark that it led to the so-called AI winter. So a period that occurred in the 1980s, 90s when funding for research in this area was reduced or frozen. So it became unpopular and extremely difficult to conduct research in this field. So many researchers then concluded that the dream of computers being as smart as humans was just a dream and nothing more. So what happened next? Where does this revolution go? So let's jump straight to 2010, to be precise. In 2010, Professor Fei-Fei Li of Stanford University designed an extremely difficult scientific and engineering undertaking. And this undertaking was called Computer Vision Challenge. This was a challenge of a computer image recognition. The idea was to see a series of experiments to make the computer recognize the picture and understand what is in the picture. The experiment was also a contest for scientists. As we know, Americans, from American movies, the Americans love contests, rivalry, and they even refer to it in science. Different teams from all parts of the world could apply and send their proposals, their algorithm. The point was, the idea was to make this algorithm work in such a way for machines that a cat would always be a cat, and a sheep would be always a sheep. So the test space was the huge image database called ImageNet. The database contained over 1 million images divided into 1,000 different categories: cats, dogs, sheep, bicycles, trees, etc. The contest related for years and was divided into stages. At the end of each stage, there was a check phase where the submitted algorithms were tested on completely new images, and the fewer errors an algorithm made, the better it was. Some of you may think, okay, but what is so difficult about it? After all, even a small child can easily recognize a cat when it sees a cat. A machine sees a picture a little differently than we do. For a machine, a picture is a huge set of numbers, so it is simply an array of numbers, like a table, in which a pixel is assigned a specific value located in a particular place. So machines see a mass of numbers which must be transformed into an answer. For the first 2 years of the experiment, the results were rather depressing. The method of creating artificial intelligence used then was called feature engineering, and was very similar to that approach I've already described. So the learning machine had a number of rules developed by the engineers. So for instance, when you see a fur, 2 eyes and ears in the picture, it means this is a cat. But such rules are in some cases correct. However, we can easily imagine a picture that would not fulfill all that criteria. The similar case would be with a ruined table with broken legs. Even when we look at it and it does not fulfill basic rules of what a table is, we still see a table. So life turned out to be too complex. A dog does not always look like a dog, a chair like a chair, and a cat like a cat. And the rules set out at the beginning often did not work. So it seemed that nothing would come out of this experiment, and the ImageNet would be a failure. And then in October 2012, a conference in Florence took place at which the results of the next stage of the ImageNet challenge were to be announced. And there was a gossip before that conference, according to which the sensations were raised. So actually the hall was full and even the organizers had troubles to get into it. The sensations concerned three authors, Alex Kizewski, Ilya Skutspe, and Geoff Hinton. Alex Kizewski came to the podium and began to introduce their joint submission, and he was explaining the method and showing increasingly better results, and finally presented the result which shocked everyone. It turned out that Alex, Ila, and Jeff, with the result, had not only just won the ImageNet challenge, but their solution was 2 times better than the previous best result obtained over the couple of years. In science, it almost never happens that a method achieves such breakthrough. Normally in science, it happens gradually. Furthermore, they actually relied on a deep neural method, the method that had been known for over 50 years. Actually, some of the professors started shouting that this was the beginning of the revolution in image recognition, and others shouted that it meant nothing and they would not believe it until they saw new evidence. And however, it was clear that something big had happened. A method used by Alex was based on what he called deep neural networks. And it was an approach that was designed to very loosely mimic the way the human brain works. The human brain is made of relatively simple structures, neurons, that communicate information to one another, and its complexity comes from the fact that neurons interconnect into billions of different ways to create this huge complex structure. Similarly, a deep neural network is a mechanism consisting of information neurons acting as simple transmitters of information. They work on the principle of a very simple addition or multiplication of information. The input signal for such a neuron is a number, the value of a pixel in a given location. It adds or multiplies it by another number. So the output signal is a different number. Just like the brain, when we connect these neurons into a large network, where each neuron connects to several others and each of which connects to the next and so on, clusters of such neurons can perform extremely complex operations and represent very complex functions between numbers, creating just a deep neural network. Deep neural networks work very differently to feature engineering. These are no pre-written rules. We tell the machine what, not how. We provide it with a number of examples. For example, pictures with cats and pictures without cats. Say dogs. And we assign categories, labels to each picture. We describe a picture of cat as cat, a picture of a dog as not cat, another cat as cat, and a dog not cat, and so on. We accumulate thousands of similar examples this way, and the machine itself is tasked with optimizing all the parameters in order to calibrate every neuron in the network, to eventually reach a point where every image of a cat is a cat for it. And the machine optimizes the process itself and sets the rules of its own operation. The machine creates understanding from its own experience, from the real mess of the world. It can be said that experiences the world. From our perspective, these machines' rules will not be easily interpretable. They will be much more disordered, chaotic, or messy. Deep neural networks, all being already known for many years, only work now. As it turned out, they needed a huge amount of data to optimize all the parameters. ImageNet was the first contest to provide such large data set where we could finally experience their full potential, experience their full power, so that this neural network could show its full potential. and this caused a revolution. The most interesting thing about this story is that deep neural networks did not just solve one particular problem of image recognition by machines. The solution is very universal. It turns one set of numbers into another set of numbers. It can analyze an image this way and assign it to a certain category, as in ImageNet. But you can also, for example, take a digital X-ray image of someone's lungs and decide whether it has a cancerous lesion on it. You can take a text in one language and translate it into another language. You can take an image from a camera in a car and decide how to steer the wheel or when to brake or step on the gas. You can teach the computer practically everything if you have enough examples. After that evening in Florence, everything in the world of artificial intelligence began to look different. The article by Alex Kizewski, Laskutzer, and Jones Hinton has been cited over 94,000 times, becoming one of the most popular publications in the history of science. During the last few years, research on deep neural networks accelerating, getting better and better results. The percentage of errors made by artificial intelligence was decreasing until it eventually became less than that of humans. Machines began to handle images better than the humans who trained them. Many of the PhD students working on these fields became celebrities right away. Large IT companies began to fight for them by offering multi-million-dollar contracts. Finally, the value of an entire market sector related to artificial intelligence simply exploded. The whole industry is now worth over $1 million a year, and it's widely believed that it will be the biggest, most profitable technology in the history of the world. In 2014, the US National Academy of Engineering formulated a list of 14 greatest challenges that humanity will face in the 21st century. The issues include biology, chemistry, physics, medicine, ecology. Challenges such as better understanding how the brain works and deciphering how to extract and deliver energy from nuclear fusion. Today, artificial intelligence is used to solve 10 out of these 14 problems. We are, ladies and gentlemen, in the midst of a scientific revolution.
So we have said something about those two different approaches to artificial intelligence and about how one of them, deep neural networks, led to a scientific revolution. But I would also like to take a more general and deeper look at these two approaches. We're dealing here with two outlooks on intelligence in the world. The first method is very ordered, regulated, full of predefined plans and rules. And it makes sense. We're used to it. We've used it many times in history. For example, to understand the world better, to form laws of physics that describe it. It consists in our trying to describe the world with simple rules and then to follow those rules to achieve what we want. The approach we're dealing with in the case of neural networks is different. It's much more messy, spontaneous, and unordered. It defies simple rules and definitions and much more consists in taking experiences the way they are and based on them finding out about the interrelations or functions that describe the world. But these functions don't necessarily have to be simple, beautiful, or easily describable with simple rules. They don't even need to be easily interpretable, but it seems that they are more true, that they are better at describing the world the way it really is. Interestingly, similar messiness and lack of order can be noticed in nature, in how evolution works. If we take particularly brainy species such as humans, or for example ravens, very intelligent birds, most of them have very long childhood and adolescence. Childhood seems kind of strange period from the perspective of evolution. As a species, we're exposed to many dangers. We keep making mistakes, our parents have to take care of us, and we can get hurt very easily. All parents know that. So the probability of that the species survives seems to reduce. It seems that evolution seems to be wrong here. But it turns out that such a long period of childhood is exactly the period when intelligent species, such as humans, learn how to learn and how to adapt to the environment. Evolution shows that you can't simply be born intelligent. that intelligence can't just be installed like on a hard drive. You have to gain intelligence on your own. You have to experience it, taste it. You have to experience this mess and chaos. You have to make your own adventures, have your own experiences in order to learn how to learn and how to adapt. That's why we have childhood. On the other hand, there are some other less brainy species. For example, deers. Nothing against deers. In that case, the brain is at the beginning not quite as plastic. Their childhood is much shorter, and they can practically walk as soon as they are born. Very impressive when compared to our human infants. We can say that the more of this plasticity in a species, the longer it takes to develop. In the case of small deers, the intelligence is the same almost as with adults, which means that deers have no time to learn how to adapt. They just are what they are. Let us take another example. Please think back for a moment to your childhood, to some specific skill that you tried to learn. For example, how to tie your shoes. And now try to consider how you would explain it to someone who has never seen shoelaces in their life. And I want you to explain it to them so precisely that person after listening to your explanation is able to tie their shoelaces as well as it goes. As if you were supposed to write a perfect guidebook on tying shoes. So that the person after reading your guidebook becomes an expert in tying shoes. This is an extremely difficult task, even though tying your shoelaces is quite simple for most of us. It comes naturally. We can do it in 1,000 ways. We can do it with our eyes closed, with one hand, two hands, with one loop, two loops. Shoelaces can be on one hand side of the shoe, on the other, they can be tangled. We can solve this problem in 1,000 different ways and tie all kinds of shoelaces in the world, even though we never saw them before, even though we cannot provide specific rules of tying shoelaces. And now we're coming nearer to the subjects with which I deal myself most. I try to kind of take this intelligence and make it materialize. The objective of my research team is to insert intelligence into the physical bodies of robots which act in real world and do real things. In order to show you how difficult it is to make intelligence materialize, I would like to start with a pioneer of such research. That was Hans Moravec, who outlined a paradox that activities which are relatively simple for humans are in fact extremely difficult for machines, and vice versa. Whatever we find very hard as humans are pretty simple for machines. They are simple for us because evolution took a really long time to master such skills. Things like manipulating objects, crossing a room, or picking up a pencil, or tying shoes. And activities which are very difficult for humans, which are manifestation of intelligence, like playing chess or Go or complex reasoning, are relatively simple for machines. As humans, in terms of evolution, we haven't been doing them for very long, so machines don't have so much to catch up. What I myself am trying to do in this field is to provide machines with some kind of common sense intuition so that they can perform these minor, not very impressive activities. So that they can reach the motor and manual skills of a child. I would like to show you a few examples from business as usual, typical day of a robot constructor around 2015, before this revolution reached robotics. As you can see here, the robots are learning how to open valves or drill holes in walls. And the approach that was used here was similar to the one that was at the beginning used with computer image recognition. A very linear approach. So this robotic problem here is divided by engineers into sub-problems, and then very scrupulously solved with the use of extremely precise rules written in mathematical language. And this entire process and these rules and the software is made by engineers who design exactly how the robot is supposed to move in order to perform a task. They prepare such a perfect plan that the robot has to just implement. But it turns out that some phenomena are extremely hard to write in this language because ourselves we don't really comprehend so well how to determine the rules for those activities. The result of such imperfections are very often problems with contact or with touch, which is very hard to describe mathematically, because as opposed to many other phenomena, it's discrete. Now it is there, now it is not there, so hard. So robots thought that they touched something when they didn't, or they fell. Or kept leaning against things, so when they thought that they weren't touching anything, they lost balance, they fell over. Sometimes even very simple forms of contact were too much for them, such as turning the doorknob, and that also resulted in failure. At that time, a popular way to deal with such problems was to avoid contact. That was this kind of engineering solution to an engineering problem. But as a result, the robots acted really odd. For example, they would walk through a door in such a way as to make sure they don't touch the frame. Or they would walk upstairs, but make sure they don't touch the banister, because that would mean to great proximity that we couldn't describe. Or they would drill holes in a wall, but only using one arm, so as not to touch anything but the other. What we want to achieve was, instead of those fearful behaviors, was that robots would seek contact themselves, that they would learn through interaction with the surroundings. They would play with things they could reach and experience the world and learn this way. We wanted to instill in them some same curiosity that babies have. We all know what happens when you leave a baby unattended. It explores everything it finds around. It's very curious. So we wanted to give robots this kind of chance. What we did not want to do is a strict set of rules installed by engineers where every step has to be performed very precisely so that the next one is possible as well. The first challenge we faced was grasping. It's very simple. Grasping is one of the fundamental manual skills of humans. And it also enables us to go on with various other actions. Only when we can use our hand, we can grab things, we can move them, and then we can move on to further activities. As humans, we developed this skill pretty early. Even newborns have this grasp reflex, which begins our learning how to grab things and affect the world around us. And this was exactly what we wanted to focus on, and we hoped that the method of deep neural networks would give us much more freedom here. Grasping wasn't a new problem. People had tried to teach robots how to grasp for more than 50 years. But before that, they used to approach the matter in a more engineering way. They analyzed various forces that we use when we move our fingers. They developed the concept of force closure to analyze this complex mechanics of a very simple activity that is grasping. This grasping was so surgically precise so that the object is touched exactly at the precise place where it should be, and so that nothing else is touched. So how to grasp and where to grasp successfully. At Google Brain, we took a different approach. We bought a lot of robots, and then we threw many different objects into containers. And then we let the robots play with those toys. At first, we just gave them a simple instruction to grasp, so that they would grab something from time to time. And the neural network itself optimized the manner of grasping so as to improve its efficiency. We used a bit different type of learning, the so-called reinforcement learning, where the robot receives the numeric reward every time it completes a task, and the neural network tries to maximize the number of rewards. So grasp ever better. It's similar when we train a dog. When we want it to learn a trick, each time they complete the task, we give them a treat, and the dog tries to keep winning treats. So as the time went by, robots became better and better. They gained more experience, and thanks to a great deal of interaction with surroundings, this constant play, they learned what it really meant to grasp. They learned the essence of grasping. The results of this approach were astonishing and surprised even us. We were able to succeed in solving the problem of grasping, to the extent that object grasping problem that had been worked on for more than 50 years was practically solved. The results showed that in 96 out of 100 attempts to grasp a completely new unknown object, robots were successful. No one had obtained such great results before. The approach had one more interesting feature. Grasping we worked on was much more similar to how people do it. It was more corporeal. It was more filled with touch and interaction with the surroundings. It hadn't been possible to program something like that before. The robots learned not to be afraid of touch. They touched each individual block. They could scratch it, move it, shove it, grab it, and squeeze it and pick it up. They would knock against many other blocks in order to pick the one they wanted. This behavior seems intuitive to us, but it wasn't really for robots, because designing such a manner of working with objects required solving a great deal of other problems involving touch and various objects touching each other. Robots were also able to react to a situation when someone would knock out a ball from their arm, and then adapt to a new situation because they finally learned what it meant. They were able to grasp something many times because they could analyze successive attempts grasping an object and come to the conclusion what went wrong, so that finally they could grasp this object. So they learned what it means, how they should grasp themselves. Moreover, we were able to extend this approach very easily to other situations, for example, where computer vision was pretty weak. For example, robots had problems to see transparent bottles. Camera can't really see them and tell them apart very easily. But since we could train neural networks and teach them new skills, after some time they were able to account for minor imperfections of the camera and adapt their actions and moves so that they could also grasp transparent bottles. So we solved a problem that seemed insolvable before without any new method, not a new line of code. We just threw some things for robots to play around in the containers, some transparent bottles. After these first successes, we started to extend our search to further manual tasks such as picking up, putting back in place, stacking up, moving, correcting, replacing, and so on. And it seems that we're heading in the right direction to finally have robots that could actually help us in our everyday life, home, work. And all that because they are robots who can learn and experience the world themselves. And based on that, improve. At the end, I would like to tell you one more story, but more personal one. When I was studying far from here at the University of Technology in Warsaw, I also enrolled in philosophy studies here at the University of Warsaw. I considered various deep questions in my life, and I thought signing up for philosophy would be the best way to answer them. Among the subjects I studied, there were two very special ones. One of them was logic. For me, logic was pretty simple and familiar. I had classes in advanced mathematics at the University of Technology, so it came easy. I understood the rules of logic, and I could understand what it was about and how it tries to use these rules to describe the world. But there was also another subject. That was ontology, that is, the study of existence and being. Wow! Compared to my previous studies, that was pure chaos. It was one huge mess. I had no idea what was going on. We would come to class and talk about the same ideas we actually talked about already, but then they were understood differently by new philosophers. Each philosopher used the same terms, but in different meaning, and there was no cohesion at all. They didn't relate. Ontology seems less transparent and clear than logic or mathematics. It seems it is bound to be messy and harder to do. But thanks to this mess, connected with trying to describe how everything works, I had the feeling that we were dealing with something truly magnificent here. I thought that we were much nearer to truth than in any other subject I studied. And I felt something very similar when, in the course of my doctoral studies in California, for the first time I heard about neural networks. I was working on one of the classic methods of AI I talked about earlier, and it went pretty good. But as I was sitting and listening to my first lecture about neural networks in my life, I remembered ontology in this huge, whole magnificent chaos and mass that made me feel closer to what the world truly is. So as a result, I decided to completely change the subject of my PhD thesis and to delve into the secrets of neural networks, to give up what I was doing and never look back. I think it's a good idea to take risks sometimes, and to let go of set rules. Even though these rules and categories are often comfortable and provide us with a model that we can follow, but I think that for us humans they can also be a trap. They can make us feel that thanks to them we know everything, and that they describe a true reality rather than a model that we have invented ourselves. They can create an illusion that thanks to them we grasp the world the way it really is, even though we have created those categories for ourselves. The world doesn't really care about categories and rules. It doesn't have to care about them. The world is busy with its own stuff. The world keeps going. Rules can be like a sieve, thanks to which we can grasp some larger objects, but all the rest will just fall through. And this rest makes up for quite a lot. Rules are there to be changed, so that they reflect the world ever better and not for them to become our world. Many times we thought that we have found the final rules, that the Earth is in the middle of the universe, that Newton's laws are final and unrefutable, or, like before the pandemic, that home office was impossible. But we were wrong, and we changed the rules. And similarly, we might think that we know the rules about what we're supposed to believe in, what we're supposed to say, whom we can love, and we tell people how they should live, rather than let them live their lives on their own and let the rules fit people rather than people fit the rules. Let them experience their own mess, understand our own true chaos. To conclude, I would like to address you, persons who study and work at the university, who are beginning the new academic year. I would like to encourage you to, from time to time, follow your own curiosity. Do something just because you feel like it, because it seems interesting, even though it perhaps doesn't fit your career path or the concept of what you are or what you think you are, or what others think. Do something to experience something new, to taste a little bit of this chaos, this mess that surrounds us. And just like me, you might be quite surprised about where it leads. Thank you very much. Professor Hausman, thank you very much for this inspired lecture. I wonder how many job offers you are going to receive now. There's a tradition that we think not with a computer, not with neural networks, but with the university fountain pen. So there it is. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All the best to you. I hope you can represent both the Warsaw University of Technology and the University of Warsaw and the Republic of Poland in the world, and I hope we keep in touch after this exchange of views. Thank you very much. Before I ask the choir to sing Gaudeamus, I would like to say one more thing. We have received various wishes from some 50 or so persons, from Prime Minister, from speakers of the Parliament. We will all publish these online on our website. And with this lecture, I hereby close the inauguration ceremony of the academic year 2021-22 at the University of Warsaw. Thank you very much. Now I would like to ask you to rise so that the choir can now perform Gaudamus Igitur. Thank you very much. Great thanks to the choir. As always, you embellish our university ceremonies. Thank you to all the guests who honored the inauguration of the academic year at the University of Warsaw. The door will always be open to you in any situations whenever you wish to come. And now you are all invited to the palace, to the first floor, for a glass of wine. Thank you very much.
Pałacu Kazimierzowskiego na pierwsze piętro. Dziękuję bardzo.